All right, we are back, and now we are here to talk some college basketball. All right, Tim,
Yeah,
what you got for us, man?
awesome, man. Kind of like I said at the end of our last video, I'm a huge Illinois Fighting Illini fan, and I know you are a pretty big Fighting Illini fan too. But
Yes.
I mean, the Illini are my heartbeat, dude. Like I love the Bears, but going back to when I was like 15, 16, in that time in 2005, when
Hmm.
the Illini were just so good in that period where they went to the Final Four, where they had Dee Brown, Darren Williams, Roger Paul, James Augustine,
Luther
Luther.
Head.
They were
Yeah.
amazing. And that game when they came back against Arizona
Mm.
was
That was the
just
game. That was the game to go to the Final Four.
exactly. And that
Yeah.
was the one where everybody, year after year after, I feel like year after year after year, I saw that video at least 5 times
Oh,
on Twitter or somewhere. It was just epic.
it's one of the
And then they
best endings
lost.
ever.
And then they lost the national championship in
Hmm.
such a. That was probably my biggest sports heartbreak for life.
That was tough because Sean May was a beast that game, and who was it? Felton? They had a point guard there
Yeah,
too. That
Raymond Felton.
was
Yeah, and then they had
okay.
Rashad McCants. They
That's
had
right.
Marvin Williams on that team too.
That was a good
Um,
team.
it was, and it sucked because Michigan State had the lead against North Carolina at halftime of that Final Four game, and Illinois fans were like, Michigan State, because it would
Me,
have been an all Big Ten final, and it would have been amazing. Illinois would have beat Michigan State in the final. They were just
right.
clearly better. It's just it was heartbreak. We
Hmm.
were tied 70-70, less than 2 minutes to go. They got a freak offensive rebound hit that went in, and then Luther Head and Darren Williams just go cold from three in the final minute.
Yeah.
So since then, we've been to the Final Four. No, we've been to the tournament maybe like three,
Hmm.
4 times since 2005. We've
Yep.
been a disaster. I mean, we've
I
been through two. This is our third coach right now, Brad Underwood.
okay. Have
Bruce,
the Illini made it to the Sweet 16 since? I want to say probably not, right?
no, 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 no. They made it to the round of 32 twice. One with the next year with Dee Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and then with John Gross once. But they
Okay.
haven't made it to the Sweet 16. They've had no Big Ten titles. They've been a disaster. They literally, it's really sad.
Oh man.
Illinois just, and we would talk like every year or so about Illinois, and it'd be like, oh man, there's such a big game going on.
Mm-hmm.
It would always fizzle out. So they might get that one upset, or it
But
just sucks. Yeah.
but now but now things have turned, right, Tim?
Things have turned. They brought in a coach from Oklahoma State. His name's Brad Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was a Western Illinois assistant. He
Mm-hmm.
comes to Stephen F. Austin, then goes to Oklahoma State for a year, and then Illinois poached him.
Oh.
So Underwood looked pretty bad his first 2 years. His first year he was like 14 and 18. Then he signed someone called Io DeSumo. He's Illinois Mr. Basketball for I think 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year they're starting to expect, okay, they're going to look better. He goes 12 and 21.
Oh.
All of a sudden people are like, that's not looking too good. Then last season happens where you have Io as a second-year player. You get first-year player Kofi Coburn, who's a 7-foot monster.
Mm-hmm.
And Illinois goes 21 and 10. They were fourth in the Big Ten. They looked good. Io was literally, excuse me, guys. I don't remember. I think he was Big Ten Player of the Year, or he was a finalist for Big Ten Player of the Year. But he was just awesome. He's a very, very good point guard / shooting guard. Okay, so that tournament didn't happen, as you know,
Yeah.
right? So that almost, in my opinion, saved Illinois, because likely Io would have showed out in the tournament, got drafted late first round. But because the tournament didn't happen, Illinois got back both Kofi and Io. People were thinking, oh man, they're going to go to the draft. No, they got him back. So they got one of the biggest boosts in college basketball by getting both of them back.
Ooh.
So fast forward, we enter the season as a top 16. We also, there are 4 Big Ten teams, top 10 teams entering this preseason. The Big
Wow.
Ten, who hasn't had a college basketball champion in 10 years. I mean,
Yeah.
in 20 years. 20
Yeah.
years.
Michigan State's the last one, right?
In 2000. So
Yeah,
anyway, so
Michigan came close one year. I remember they played, I think, Louisville and almost pulled it out. But the Big Ten has always done well in the NCAA tournament. They've always just been short of the NCAA
yeah,
championship.
you got it. So close, right? But now they come into this year, huge expectations, blow the doors off their first two opponents by over 50 points each, get to play Ohio, almost lose to Ohio. They win by 2. It was really, really close. Then they get to play Baylor, number 2 team in the country. They hang with them for about 30 minutes of the game. They're only down by 3. And then they got blown out in the last, 10 minutes. Baylor just had too much. Baylor, son, is clearly like a top 2 team.
Okay.
So they got to play number 10 Duke. Illinois in my lifetime has never beaten Duke. I think they beat them once when you were young.
Yeah, I'm not even sure about that.
I couldn't even believe it, dude. They walked into Cameron Indoor this week. They won 83-68. They held Duke to 40% shooting, 22% beyond the arc, beat them in rebounding 33-21, and they shot over 63% from 3. So they got a little luck, but dude, Illinois was just so dominant. They just ran the floor super well. They were getting points out in transition all the time. It felt like every time they turned, they got every time I turned, they got alley-oop dunk. They're just a really, really talented team. And I just moving forward, keep your eye out on Io DeSumo. Very talented guy. He's averaging over 22 points a game, 8 assists and 8 rebounds and 6 assists.
Wow.
Look out for Kofi Coburn. I'm a little concerned about him, but he's a 7-foot monster. He's a little slow in my opinion, but he's still getting 13 and 8 with ease. Then they got a couple other people pretty good. They got this freshman guard. His name is Adam Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Miller had 28 points in his first ever game. He's a left-handed sharpshooter. He's really good. They got this freshman named Andre Curbelo. Curbelo is just like this ball-handling magician. Okay, so watch out for him. He's really good. He just weaves his way in through the lane. He's a little reckless, so watch out for that. But this team is just really exciting, son. And I think when looking at the rest of the Big Ten, they really got a shot here. You have Iowa, who's really good too, dude. Iowa I feel like they're just a bunch of white dudes who can just play extremely well. They got this guy, Luca Garza. You probably heard of him. He was the national player the year last year. This guy is Sean May on steroids. He was like 12 for 12 last night in shooting. He's just dominant. He's going to have like no role in the NBA. He's just like this big, heavy log who's not going to be able to do much in the NBA. But his role is in college. That's just really good. They just shoot the ball lights out. They scored over 94 points against North Carolina at home. Wow. They're going to be right there at the end. Wisconsin's not as good as we thought, but they're still probably top 20 good. Michigan State also walked into Duke and beat Duke, so they're good too. Tom Izzo's always there. So, dude, we're going to have a really, really good Big Ten race on. And that's awesome. Illinois is there. They get to play, Missouri. They play Missouri in the bragging rights game tonight in about an hour and a half. So that's pretty exciting. Missouri's ranked 25. We're number 6. So that a little bit of word of danger. We'll see.
So then tell me going forward then, looking at this season, if I were to give you your crystal ball, how do you think this will play out if we have an NCAA tournament this year?
Oh man. Oh man. It's hard, and I'm fumbling through my words a little bit because I'm so excited about this. And there's versus the Bears, it's easy to talk about the Bears. You get all the stats lined up and it's really easy to be a little more objective. This is like my heart. Like, I'm so stoked about Illinois basketball. These Big Ten, it's scary being in a Big Ten this good because these Big Ten teams are going to mess with each other. So what in a normal year, Illinois be a 1 seed, they might take 5 conference losses and drop down to a 2 or 3. And then that worries me. Could they get in a bracket with Baylor? Could they get in a bracket with Gonzaga? You don't know. I will tell you 2 things. You have a possible National Player of the Year in Io DeSumo.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Those are the players that step up in the tournament time. He knows what to do with the ball in his hands in the final minute. They were in that close game with Ohio. He won the game for them. They were down by 1 with about 10 seconds off. He drove to the hole, got a foul. So they know how to win in those close games. That's a positive. Dude, honestly, son, like, it would be my sports dream to have Illinois play Iowa for the national title or in the Final Four. And I would cry if Iowa beat Illinois. You know how it is. It goes back to the Bruce Pearl days.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa and Illinois want to crap on each other. They hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
They hate each other more than Illinois and Wisconsin. Iowa is pretty much Illinois' biggest rival. And to think, like, they would... I just want to see it, dude. I just want to see it. I just want to see them take out the legs of the chop of the guy who, damn it, I can't even think, man. Luca Garza. I just feel like he carries wood bale. You're the comedian here. He's from Iowa. He works in cornfields, man, and he's just carrying wood barrels. And then they chop his legs off and say, "You can't play anymore, Luca Garza. We're gonna dominate you." I just want that to happen.
Do you think that Illinois has a better team than Iowa? I mean, if you were to watch them play on a neutral site, I mean, who wins that game?
I'm 50-50. I think Iowa might be a little deeper. Illinois to Illinois. It's like I'm from California. People from California just say Illinois. I'm like, come on, man. But anyway, Illinois, their success is going to depend a lot on their freshmen. Okay. How is Miller going to do? How is Curbelo going to do? And then I'm terrible at pronouncing his name, but Gorgi Benchanishvili was awful. The third-year player. He was awful last year, but he's going to come off the bench. He's very much an energy dude. He's like, in a weird way, a Joakim Noah for this team. A bench player, 11 points a game. He's very vital. And then the last person I'd really want to discuss is DeMonte Williams. He's a senior. He's very much a stabilizing force. He was Frank Williams' son.
Oh, okay.
So he knows how to hit a three. He's kind of like their 3-and-D guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like Allen Robinson.
Okay.
Weirdly enough. So maybe I'm the only one who thinks that. But anyway, so it's an exciting time to be an Illini fan. Dude, I just want them to get a top 2 seed. If we can get a top 2 seed, and possibly if we can win the Big Ten tournament and get a number 1 seed, that's huge. And think about it. If these games are played in Indianapolis, if they decide to host the whole tournament, which is what they're discussing for Indiana, can you imagine being only 50 miles away from Champaign?
Oh.
Like how insanity that would be? Illinois might have a shot at winning the whole thing. I think Baylor and Gonzaga are way better, and you saw it. But Illinois was hanging out with Baylor for 30 minutes of that game. They were hanging with them, and then they just lost composure. So I'm hoping that game taught them something. I hope that win against Duke was like a signature, hey, we made it, we're here moment. That's going to be awesome. And we'll see how they do coming forward in a really tough Big Ten.
Okay. Wow. Well,
do you have any final thoughts on Illinois? Like, are you excited? How are you feeling?
No, I'm very excited. I'm definitely going to keep a lookout and watch more of their games and just. I mean, it sounds exciting. I mean, we haven't. Yeah. I mean, it's been 2005. It seems like it's like Illinois basketball is like a comet. It comes around like every 15 or 20 years.
Exactly.
And then you've got a good team.
To 05 to 20.
Yeah.